autoimmune hair loss versus hereditary hair loss. Why I decided to discuss today an autoimmune response and a hereditary response, because as I said, most persons, when you say hair loss, they all categorize hair loss under one label. So someone could be specialized in some type of hair loss, and as far as most persons are concerned, because they don't know, they will just see it as, all right, I'm going to see about my hair loss. Hair loss should be categorized. That's what it should be, categorized. Right? So I'm going to talk about two types today, which is autoimmune hair loss and androgenetic hereditary hair loss. Now, hereditary hair loss is called androgenetic alopecia because it's from the male androgens, and you must have the sensitivity to that androgen for it to form into dihydrotestosterone. So your testosterone is what is really, should I say, kicking you? Your testosterone is what is converted into dihydrotestosterone via an enzyme called alpha reductase. When both guys meet in your system, they convert into dihydrotestosterone, DHT, and boom, after a while, this is gonna, it makes a serum that actually migrates to the scalp. And so far, science has not been able to say exactly why only the top crown area for most men is where they would suffer the hair loss. The sides and the back is always considered the donor area. That's what makes androgenetic alopecia something that particular thing, it still can't be explained. But what we know though is if you were to do different things internally, what would happen is these two guys, we need to stop them from meeting. Testosterone, alpha reductase. So that's why we always say stop the guys from meeting. So we use blockers. So it's called DHT. DHT inhibitors is what is used internally to really stop those two guys from meeting. And you hear what I'm saying, eh? Since the androgen is male androgens, I'm saying those two guys. You know, so that's the alpha reductase and the testosterone, so that they would not form that dihydrotestosterone. And even if it's formed a bit, it will be a bit it would be a bit weaker. So it would not be able to reap as much havoc on your scalp. That's what makes that happen to most men, and it also is responsible partially for 70% of hair loss in women. But the thing about hereditary hair loss, you have to inherit the gene. You must inherit the genes. If you don't, then you will not suffer with that type of hair loss. But now, we're looking at autoimmune hair loss to hereditary type hair loss. So we understand that part of it. So we understand that part. We understand that androgenetic alopecia is formed by two guys, testosterone and alpha reductase. When those two guys meet, they form dihydrotestosterone. So when you see everywhere, you're hearing things like DHT inhibitors, DHT inhibitors, DHT inhibitors. then you understand what it's trying to do, what the whole term of DHT inhibitors is actually applying to do internally. And there are some products that externally, that when you put them on also, they cut the DHT just a little by penetrating the scalp slightly. But the internal factor is the factor that is most important for you to deal with. Once you have that factor, at least you start, because if you have the inhibitors, less and less receptors attached to the follicle, to that papilla area, less and less attached to that root, the less attached there is, the more nutrients will be able to get through and strengthen your hair more and more. Once that is happening, once that DHT inhibitor is working really well for you, it's going to at least assist you for you to start back growing some healthy hair. So when I say that we can slow it down, there are lots of things that we can do to slow that hair loss down. It's things though, because it's a hereditary factor, those things are things that will have to be continued. Yes, you would have to continue some of these things because you have the genes. Let's look at your immune system. Now, God has blessed us with so many possibilities. Our immune system is supposed to go out there and defend us. If something falls on your skin, our immune system is fast to the area, goes really quickly, sends antibodies to that area to shut it down, to prevent anything from entering the internal environment. Our immune system does a real good job in our defense. But sometimes there could be a malfunctioning in the immune system, and it would be seen certain cells in your system, it could be seen as a foreign agent. And what it's going to do, that's what the job it's built to do, is to prevent any foreign invaders from entering your system. So it's going to launch an attack on whatever it sees as a foreign agent in your system. As I always say, your hair is only an appendage of your skin. Our hair is one of the fastest growing cells in our body. It replicates so quickly that when it's picked up as a foreigner, or for some reason your system going to hyper, as far as your autoimmune system, it's going to launch an attack and start attacking your good normal cells. Hereditary hair loss is the type of hair loss that you are susceptible to if you have the genes for it. Unlike autoimmune hair loss, is when your immune system sees your hair follicle as a foreign agent and start to attack the foreign agent. Now, most of the time, you have an autoimmune issue is because there's some disruption internally that is causing your immune system to react in that manner. That's what it's doing. It's reacting. Your immune system is seeing, just like when you have rheumatoid arthritis, you have things like lupus. All of those are autoimmune response. They're illness, but they send that autoimmune response in your system. So that's why there's so many persons who suffer with lupus and diseases like that could end up with so much scarring, because the immune system is on a path to destroy anything that may have adverse reactions internally. But when you look at hair loss, once it's an autoimmune type hair loss, if it's not caught in time, before your follicles is destroyed, you will have an issue of scarring. Once your follicles is built up with fibrous tissue, then there's no way that that will grow back. Sad, but that's the reality. Sometimes, like I always ask, what's your healthy hair and scalp goals? Why I ask what is your healthy hair and scalp goals is because most persons who I see coming to me after 5 and 10 years of really that expression of hair loss. They've been getting an expression of hair loss for 10 years. And the only bad thing though about that, apart from the hair loss being very advanced, is most persons, by the time they come in, they already lost more than 50% of their hair, and they would like to see it grow back next month. They would love to see their hair back on by next month, but it took them 10 years to lose that hair. But they would love to see it back by next month. There's no magician working on hair loss. Not that I know of that. Not that I know of. Once we work out a strategy for you, and you decide that you are going to follow this pattern, once you continue, your hair will grow back. That's providing it's postpartum and it's also hereditary factor. That hair is going to grow back. So for me, what I would always say, you need to deal with hair loss. First, understand what category you fall into, and you need to deal with hair loss as an emergency. That's what it should be. Because as I said, most hair loss is a side effect of something that is happening. Most hair loss. And it's something that is happening internally. Wouldn't you want to know what is happening internally? For anyone who just came, my name is Dr. Germaine Williams-Beckles. I'm a trichologist, a coach, speaker, and an author. I just wrote the book, Why Am I Losing My Hair? You can get more information about me if you scroll down at the bottom of the screen. You can go to GermaineWilliamsBeckles.com, our website, and see what I do. Learn a bit more about what I do. I'm always here to give advice and to assist persons who would like to work with me and who want to understand more about their hair loss. Right now, that's what I'm teaching on, hair loss. Since hair loss is a trend, and everywhere you turn, you hear that word. Hair loss, hair loss, hair loss. Why am I losing my hair? That's what I continue hearing from persons with their hair loss. So this is Germaine Williams-Beckles signing off.